is up, beautiful people internet? I'm Wesley.
I'm Stephanie.
So Wes and
Steph.
Hey guys, we're reacting to Rise of Bangtan, Chapter 10, Friends. Last episode was actually quite happy.
Yeah?
So I'm hopeful, but also apprehensive.
This one's about friends. It's going to be good.
Hopefully
It's just a happy show talking about how they have friends. Don't forget to turn on captions. That's what this is.
Oh, we have them on. I got scared. I always think that this is such an epic intro. It feels very significant, you know?
It does.
Whoa! That's so
sick.
cool. I love when we get to this era because it feels like the boys really start to express themselves and their personalities.
I agree. Oh, that was haunting.
好，现在我们进入下一环节。现在歌曲的歌名版就在你们对面。要想得到自己心仪的竞演曲目，必须完成接力折返跑。
准备好了。
预备。
Are these girls trying to be idols? And they're all gorgeous.
Dude, they're going after it.
Yeah.
Whatever this show is
she
looks
tripped.
amazing. Oh, is she actually like hurt? They're trainees.
He's a former member of EXO.
比赛重新开始，你们现在别说话了。这录制知道吗？天天嘴上说101个女孩有你们在很骄傲，你摔倒了，没一个人过去看她在拿牌子的时候，在抢牌子的人干什么了？ 하나, 둘, 셋, 큐!
나인뮤지스와 함께 고구마계랑
9 Muses. That was a crazy scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like diving right in. This is not what I thought we were going to do when we talked about Friends.
Especially because we've watched Running Man.
Yeah.
And we've watched shows that BTS have been on, but we actually haven't seen a lot of the other like idol industry.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know they had shows like that. So that was like 101 trainees who I guess are competing in order to become a group maybe.
Yeah.
And there were some people who went and checked on her.
Yeah, a lot did actually. Her teammates did, or maybe.
No, some of them weren't her teammates.
Oh, they just went.
Yeah, some of them went and checked on her. But I guess like the pressure that you would feel
to just win.
To win, it was probably really hard to balance that with like being a good teammate. We talked about this before, how just like it's crazy to us how good of a team BTS is.
It felt
and
like
how locked in and helpful all the members are when they've lived together.
Yeah.
They were in that super competitive environment in the trainee program, and they're still like good team players.
I feel like it was almost a scene out of like an anime or something where you're like, oh, who checked on her?
Yeah.
You know? Who was the
like,
good person?
Like Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this wasn't actually the test. It wasn't about the relay. It was about who was going to be a
제가 지금 이걸 왜 하고 있는지 모르겠어요. 진짜? 어차피 그 카메라에 대본이 있는 사람이 있는데 했는데 하지만 조만간 나인뮤지스를 탈퇴하려고.
좀만 서두를게요.
빨리 와.
9명 너무 많잖아요. 숙소 생활 이해는 맨날 붙어 있고 그러다 보니까 저는 상처가 너무 많이 받아가지고.
I bet.
I'm just surprised they're saying it.
내 할 일만 딱 마치고 다르게 하고 싶어요.
아이돌이 되는 과정까지만 이 다큐멘터리 찍었으면 참 아름다웠을 텐데 왜 원래 그렇잖아. 백설공주 신데렐라 걔네 결혼하고 나서 얼마나 행복했겠어. 아니야. 걔네도 이혼하고 싸우고 막 난리가 났을 거야.
Well, that's sad.
That's cynical.
That's
별
sad.
필요 없는 내용일걸? 어쨌든 왜 변했냐면 데뷔하기 전에는 그 인간다움, 인간성, 정 이런 게 좀 공존을 했어. 솔직히 말해서. 근데 지금은 없어.
Well, that's dark. That doesn't bode well for this episode.
I cannot. Have you guys ever been to summer camp and had to stay in a dorm full of girls? Like it's no, you had not. You had
I
to
went
sit
to
in
summer
a full
camp,
guy.
which was pretty chill.
Yeah. I just feel like there's always some sort of like cliques or drama that breaks out, or like there's just like not everybody is going to be best friends
Or get along.
And even if there is no drama and everyone's being really nice to each other, that doesn't mean everybody gets along or is like
And that's a relatively low pressure situation.
Yeah, imagine a high pressure situation where you're working your ass off, you're exhausted.
Everybody's scrutinizing you.
Everybody's watching, you're competing with each other. People are going to get voted, like the weakest link is going to get voted off this week, you know?
I feel like there's certain teams that can do well when they're like trying to be successful.
Yeah.
But then they might not be as good once they actually have achieved some level of success.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the things we've talked about with BTS. One of the things we respect most about them is how humble they stayed despite their success.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be very easy if you make it past debut as an idol group.
Yeah.
To like fall at that first hurdle. When you do start to get some success and recognition, that can really change how people view themselves and how they view themselves in the group. It could really make you... I'm not saying with these girls specifically. I don't know what happened. But like it happens with pro athletes all the time where like they're doing really well and then they get to where they're actually making money and then they fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know that BTS got, and imagine how well they get along.
Such a sick intro, always.
Oh,
and do you remember the other clip they played?
Intro.
They played that other clip where they're like, the worst thing is being a somewhat successful idol group. They're like, it's better to be either not successful or like extraordinary successful.
Just, like,
and the
right
idol groups
there.
in between have a really hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think we're past that point now. And
I thought we were.
안녕하십니까. 여기는 아이돌 스타들의 불꽃 튀는 스포츠 대축제 2015 아이돌 스타 육상 씨름 농구 풋살 양궁 이름하여 아이돌 스타 육시 농구 양궁
wrestling,
여기 있는
basketball,
고양 실내 체육관입니다.
futsal.
300여 명의
And
아이돌
like indoor soccer.
지금 이거 꽉 채워졌습니다.
열기가 너무 뜨거워요.
이번 대회에서도 뭐 많은 소속사 대표.
Hey, what? The boys competed in the Olympics for idols? This is so cool. How do we not know?
How do we not? Are these
This
all
looks so
already?
cool.
These are successful idols.
여기서 지금 함께 하고 계십니다.
추석 특집 2015 아이돌 스타 육상 씨름 농구 풋살 양궁 선수권 대회 지금부터
What is
카운트다운
this?
시작합니다.
This is so cool.
What are we gonna have? Like Jennifer Lopez competing in like a you know what I mean?
Make Jennifer Lopez Greco-Roman wrestle Katy Perry now. American music industry. Hey!
And these people are all incredibly good shape.
Yeah. And we learned South Korea's sick at... We actually, in Sidemen, guys, in Sidemen, it was a trivia question of which country has won the most medals in archery.
And it was
And
South
I was
Korea.
like, I was adamant it was South Korea.
He was right.
And Steffi didn't believe me.
I didn't believe it because South
But now
Korea is
we
such
know.
a small country.
Hey, look, it's one of the events that they pulled out.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe they made them wrestle. That's crazy. Oh, they brought the army bombs. That's so cool.
400m 남자 결승
That was
경기
good singing,
좀더
guys.
진행해 드리겠습니다.
참가 선수를
Oh,
소개하겠습니다.
Jimin.
1레인 세븐틴,
Oh, we
2레인
know
B1A4, 3레인 틴타, 4레인 방탄소년단.
Do you know how big their pop is? Go, Jimmy, go!
Damn. He's fast. What the heck?
Who?
Oh, it's a relay.
It's V?
V.
Go, V, go!
Damn, V.
자 다음 3레인
J-Hope!
Everybody fast, man.
Do you think JK is anchored?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be JK. Go, J-Hope! Ah, JK!
He's so fast. Of course it's JK. Good luck beating him. Don't you ever want to run against JK? Never. That would be the worst thing ever. The cameraman.
POV cameraman from Run. Cameraman from Run would have been in second place if he had to run this whole relay by himself. That guy is a freak beast. The only freak beast that can match JK is Run, BTS's camera crew.
Yeah, good job, JK, and the whole BTS team, because all of them carrying a relay.
It'd be so funny for RM, Jin, and Suga to be like, "We did it! Good job!"
They put in their 4 fastest runs.
Yeah, it was smart.
Yeah,
right?
with JK at the end.
Anchor, bro. He zoom.
I like how he asked the question as if down to that was going to be JK.
We're like, who's the anchor? Is it JK?
Oh, you win? You get to perform?
Oh, that would be sick.
안주가 슬픔 속에
Did BTS wrestle? I want to see the wrestling.
들어오면 딱 달려야 될 것 같아.
It definitely does.
팬분들을 만나면서부터가 저희의 지금 화양연화가 아닌가 싶고요. 지금 계속 진행형이라 지금도 진행 중이고 앞으로도 저희 팬분들과 함께라면은 화양연화일 것 같습니다.
Oh, I don't like that line.
방탄소년단 올해 발표한 두 장의 음반이 연이어 성공을 거둔 것은 물론이고요. 해외에서 음악적 역량을 인정받아
자, 방탄소년단은 최근 미국 빌보드의 월드 차트에서 4번이나 1위를 달성하며 신한류 아이콘으로 떠오르고 있죠.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Dude, this would be just a happy episode if we didn't start with the intro that we did.
I know.
Like, now I just feel apprehensive.
I know, like, what's coming?
You know when they do that in documentaries? It's like everything's going well, and then they have, like, the and it fades to black. I was worried.
These are all happy things.
근데 방탄소년단도 이제 총 8번을 했거든요.
무려 8번이나! 8번이나 1위를 했어요!
사랑해주셔서 감사합니다. 더 열심히 달릴게요. 아무래도 저희가 하는 음악 스타일이 장르적으로 이제 해외 팬 여러분들께 친숙하게 다가온 것 같아요. 또 이제 그런 음악을 이제 저희가 직접 작사 작곡을 하니까 이제 해외 팬, 또래 팬 여러분들도 되게 공감을 하시면서 많이 좋아해 주시는 것 같아요.
잘 지내셨어요?
잘 못 지냈습니다. 진짜 이거 뭐 지금 거의 48시간 깨 있는 것 같습니다 지금. 저의 금요일보다 하루 나갔어요. 하루를.
또 얘기한다고 나갈 것 같아요?
사실 하는 거야.
진짜 흥미가 왔어요.
갑시다.
파이팅.
어른들 말처럼 뭐 요즘 세상은 뭐 어때요? 옛날은 안 그랬는데 저희가 처음부터 의지가 없었던 것처럼 얘기하고 마치 모든 것이 저희의 뭐 노력 탓이냐. 저도 이 사회를 살아가고 있는 한 정우로서 굉장히 답답함을 많이 느꼈습니다. 네, 내가 처음부터 포기하고 싶어서 꿈을 이룬 것도 아니고 이 꿈을 포기하고 싶어서 쫓아간 것도 아닌데 불구하고 그래서 만들게 된 게 화양연화. 나는 또 어떤 그런 거예요.
That means so.
Whoa. Oh no. So it's like everything, all of the crazy schedule is starting to get to them.
Just exhausted.
It's interesting that 2 members hit the wall at the same time.
Yeah. It makes complete sense.
It makes complete sense.
They're pushing them so hard.
I always, when RM talks about that with the adults or like intergenerational strife, I project US, right? Because I don't know.
I did the same thing.
I don't know as much about how the different intergenerational dynamics work in South Korea, but that's definitely a similar theme in US. And it's been really interesting to observe it as we've gotten a little bit older, because now it's starting to move away. We're millennials, and we're younger millennials. So now it's starting to move, and most of the media coverage is no longer like punching on millennials, it's punching on Gen Z.
Yeah, it's like, man, whatever generation's up, you gotta punch on them a little bit.
But I've thought that I tend to be more cynical. If you guys have watched us enough, you probably know that But for me, I feel like a lot of the times, I feels like the older generations sometimes don't understand how like there have been violations to whatever you want to call it, like the social contract. And so there's sometimes the younger generation isn't doing things because they're not getting as good of a deal. So like even if you just look at inflation or housing prices or stuff like that, and you look at the way companies hire and fire versus the way they hired and fired in our grandparents' generation, let alone our parents' generation, there was like an expectation of loyalty from both sides of the equation.
Yeah, like one of the things that's commonly said is, oh, the younger generation, they job hop, they have no loyalty to a company. And that's like a huge criticism.
They're not willing to pay their dues, like stuff like that gets said a lot.
And I think that a large part of it is like, well, there's no pensions anymore, so and the job rates aren't keeping up with inflation. They're not going to promote you or give you a raise unless you job hop. That's the only way to keep up with inflation.
And companies don't protect their employees.
Yeah.
And now I don't know because I wasn't born yet, but the way that it's talked about is that there used to be a time when companies would at least try to keep their commitment to employees. I don't know if that was ever the case or if that was just like, see, this is why I'm so cynical. But I feel like, obviously, if I know and I've been taught that like a company's going to drop me at the drop of a hat, then I'm going to have the same investment.
Yeah, why should I devote my whole life to you and sacrifice so much for you when you'll just lay me off? Whatever.
And it feels like that's kind of symptomatic of a lot of the systems where younger generations feel less bought into like the country, and they feel less bought in because like to real estate. They don't have a house. They don't have a job. They don't trust the systems that the older generation grew up trusting and still trust. So they feel very like disenfranchised.
That's not everybody in the older generation, but there is definitely a pervasive narrative that we sometimes get.
I think a lot of times the older generations mistake disenfranchisement with laziness. Does that make sense? Yeah. And again, I don't know if that's the same in South Korea.
I think in South Korea, I think it's different. I think that the similar concept applies here, but I think in the South Korea, from everything we've learned and that we've learned more about it, I think that it's very much that the younger generation is lazy because they don't want to just go become like your doctors, your lawyers, your like work really, really hard to get into Seoul University.
Like
you don't want to work 12 hours a day.
Like 16 hours a day studying.
16 hours a day studying, right? And there's kids who are saying, no, I don't want to do that. I want to become an idol, or I don't want to do that. I want to do this instead.
Or it's just like, this isn't a good deal.
Or this is awful. Like this way of life that you're promising me is not like fulfilling.
Yeah.
And like the apartments, they're so expensive and small, right? All the things that we're learning about. It makes sense that the younger generation is disillusioned. So like, why should I kill myself for this outcome that you're promising that's not...
It's not what I want to do anyways. Yeah.
So it's interesting as we've learned more and more about it. I understand, and every time Aram says it, I understand it a little bit more
deeply, especially for this specific era of BTS's music where they're talking about it.
Yeah. Anyway, back to them being sick.
That was such a long tangent.
공연 전에 슈가형이랑 비가 좀 어지러움증을 호소를 해서요. 좀 리허설을 하다가 이제 중단을 하고 지금 이곳에 병원으로 지금 이동을 해서 의사분들 진료를 했었습니다. 네, 그래서 CT 촬영을 하고 또 진료 결과를 큰 이상 발견되지는 않았고요. 그런데 저희가 아무래도 퍼포먼스를 공연하다 보니까 좀 어지러움증일 수 있다는 진단을 또 받았고요. 그래서 혹시 추후 상태를 좀 조심스럽게 지켜봐야 한다는 그런 좀 소견을 받게 되었습니다. 네, 그래서 좀 다시 한번 이 공연장을 또 소중한 시간에 내어서 찾아주신 여기 계신 많은 여러분들께 죄송하다는 말씀 드리고 싶고요. 마지막으로
any armies there are probably just worried.
Yeah.
최근에 발매가 됐던 아이돌즈 스페니시 버전을 들려드리겠습니다. 예쁘게 촬영을 채워주신
I'm afraid these boys are pushing themselves to exhaustion too. Small forest.
여러분, 여기는 서울숲입니다. 제가 생각이 많거나 굉장히 쉴 곳이 필요할 때 꼭 오는 곳인데요. 여러분, 새로운 친구를 소개합니다. 개입니다. 보나 여기 좀 봐봐. 보나 형 좀 봐봐.
Pretty puppy.
뭔 개야?
That's a beautiful dog.
다 안 봐요 저를. 제가 주로 서울시도 오면 이렇게 생각 정리를 하고 여기서 막 그냥 멜로디 같은 것도 막 흥얼거리고 많이 해요. 예를 들면 강아지라는 단어가 있다고 생각할게요. 그러면 강아지 너무 크구나 정도만
This feels like such a
이제 이렇게
tangent.
또 맨날 쳐요.
For everything else.
저는 이걸 앨범을 만들면서 굉장히 막막했던 순간들이
Like it was
너무
gonna be in the credit scene. Yeah.
많았어서 그런 순간들이 되게 길고 하루의 대부분이었기 때문에 참 이렇게 모아놓으니까 우리가 언제
I think about them having to film that.
Where they're getting all soaked in your clothes.
And you have to look good underwater.
원에 그 곡들과 그런 뮤직비디오도 찍고 안무도 하고 언제 해서 지금 방송을 하고 있지라는 생각이 드네요. 참 관계가 무량한 게
그러니까 멤버들끼리 좀 더 같이 모여서 이야기할 수 있었던 그런 시간들이 좀 많이 없지 않았나.
We never even thought about that.
너무 바빠가지고 그래서 뭔가 좀 더 대화도 하면서 뭐 이런 뭐 고민거리들도 이야기를 하고
It's beautiful that that's the
이런
complaint,
이야기를
though.
좀 더 많이 했었으면
That shows how close
더
they
뭔가
are.
재밌었을 것 같은데 뭔가 팀적으로도 그렇고 뭔가 그 분위기도 그렇고.
Or know that you're not alone in how you're feeling.
And just connect.
진짜 나이 거 못한다 애들.
That's why we love you guys.
아 진짜.
나한테 더웠어.
매니저.
With our first snow test, we use some ideas.
눈이 무게.
Don't throw snowballs at me. I'm sick.
왜 나한테 오냐고. 뭐야 그.
It's like a found footage movie.
눈이 온다. 눈 온다. 메리 크리스마스다. 메리 크리스마스.
메리 크리스마스.
자, 인사드려볼까요? 둘, 셋, 방탄! 안녕하세요, 방탄소년단입니다. 다가오는 2016년 새해를 맞아 묵은 고민을 훌훌 털어버리는
It's only the end of 2015. But it doesn't, it still feels like a more recent era.
시간을 준비를 했습니다. 오빠에게 물어봐! 빠밤!
자, 얄루님께서 보내주셨어요.
얄루님.
2016년 새해가 밝으면 성인이 되는데 어떻게 하면 성인이 되는 한 해를 알차게 보낼 수 있을까요? 방탄이들은 성인이 되는 해에 한 일 중에서 무엇이 제일 알찼나요?
Here's what they'll say.
저는 사실상
네.
기억이 안 나요.
Because they were working so hard.
뭐 20살 어떻게 보냈는지 19살에서 20살에도
재작년이네요. 저희가 데뷔한 해군요.
건배! 탄산 와이트 건배.
그러니까 데뷔를 한 해.
한 해.
그러니까 형의 20살 해.
그렇죠. 저는 데뷔를 했었네요.
네, 그렇죠.
이제 똑같죠 이 얄루님이랑.
네.
저도 이제
어떻게 하면 알차게 보낼 수 있을 것 같아요. 뭐 하고 싶은 아까 얘기했고 뭐 이루고 싶은 목표.
이루고 싶은 목표 제가 이루고 싶은 목표.
네. 알차게 보내고 싶은 거니까.
좀 이게 자기 가치관이 아주 뚜렷한 그런 멋있는 아티스트가 되어 있었으면 좋겠어요. 훌륭한 싱거가 되어 있었으면 좋겠습니다.
노래줘. 처음에.
Did you read the subtitles?
No, what is...
The subtitles say J-Hope Geeks, JK Geeks.
사실 365일 송캠프가 진행된다고 생각하시면 됩니다. 저희 모두가 곡을 보내고 뭐 가사 생각나는 거 있으면 보내고 주제 생각나는 거 있으면 보내고 그렇게 이제 추합이 된 거를 사실 이제 장피님이 정리를 해주시죠. 이거
He's like an
나왔습니다.
aggregator.
저렇게 나왔습니다. 사실 7명이 모두 각자의 그 맡은 부분들을 하려고 노력하는 중이고 많은 프로듀싱 부분에서 참여를 하고 있는 것 같아요.
I think it
그러다
does
보니까 뭔가
too.
진실이
Like a
진실성이
million
더 큰 것
times.
It means so
같고
much more knowing it comes
그런
from that.
저희의
Yeah,
에디트가
and
많이
that's like
달라지는
something they're really feeling.
그것도 어떻게 보면 좀 과거의 관점인 것 같아요. 그런데 그들이 아이돌 산업과 시스템 하에 있다고 해서 과연 그들의 랩 재능을 그냥 뭐 무시해버리는 게 과연 온당한가? 제가 볼 때는 이 두 명은 뭐 한국 힙합씬 다 통틀어도 가장 랩을 기술적으로 잘하는 래퍼들이거든요.
제가 아이돌이냐 아니냐, 혹은 제가 하는 음악의 장르가 힙합이냐 아니냐, 아니면 그것에 제가 가지는 태도가 힙합이냐 아니냐는 이제 저한테는 이제 크게 중요한 일이 아니고, 어쨌든 분명히 저는 제 음악을 만들 것이고
I feel like it was just so
관해서 계속
brutal
보여드리고 싶어요.
in the beginning, because now they're getting so much feedback, and they're getting feedback where people are like, your lyrics moved me. I feel like you really captured how we were feeling and articulated it. I'm really glad that they made it to that point, because I know that for RM especially, he really wanted some level of artistic and industry recognition.
Yeah.
And he's such an
he
artist. Yeah. And he's such an artist that I feel like that critical reception was very important to him. Because you know how some people, they care about like popularity.
Yeah.
And some people, they care about the response they get from people they respect that do the same thing.
The craft.
Yeah, the craft, right? I feel like RM is very much a craft guy. And so I'm really happy for him that he's able to get good feedback for his craft, even if it doesn't come from the people he initially wanted it from, being such a fan of underground rap.
Yeah.
And being able to be like, you know what, that's fine, but I'm so thankful and happy that people are resonating with my work.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, it's popular. It's like, oh, it's resonating.
Yeah.
라는 그런 뭔가 춤 장르를 좀
he made his
이렇게 하는
documentary.
그런 목적도 있어요.
Which was so good. We reacted to it over on Patreon also.
It was interesting. Like, I didn't realize how deep.
The history, the history and the culture is really cool.
않나 약간 싶은 그런 이상한 강박감이 드네요.
그 미엔유만 한 번만 살려주시면 안 돼요?
이 곡을 표현하는 거라든지 그 곡을 이제 퍼포먼스로 이제 누군가한테 보여준다는 것 자체가 굉장히 부담도 사실 되는 거고.
그러니까 구조가 네 마디가 똑같아.
그것이 고착화되지 않고 음악적으로 계속 진화하고 성장하려면 저희가 가장 많이 나눴던 얘기는 성적이나 기록에 연연하지 않도록 하자. 몇 등을 했고 어떤 기록을 냈다를 얘기하는 순간 우리는 음악하는 사람들이 아닌 것 같다라는 얘기를 제일 많이.
I've never even noticed that they don't do that very often.
Sometimes there's like the Grammys. That's the only one I can really think of.
Well, I think a lot of that has come through documentaries, not through the boys themselves ever talking about it. They never talk about it if you think about it.
And I think it's also, it's like a big symbolic goal. It's not like we want to hit these streaming numbers on this song.
Yeah.
There's a business guy that I really like to listen to, and his name's Alex Hormozy, but he says that most people tend to be drawn towards focusing on outcomes, and I'm somebody like this, where I want to look at the outcome number.
Yeah.
But instead, you it's really hard, but you need to focus on like the input, because the outcome doesn't, you can't directly influence the outcome. You can influence the input.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that they were like so input, music.
Yeah.
Because everything else is an output.
It's just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But you focus on doing your best on the front, and that's where you focus your time, effort, and attention, because that's limited.
많이 했고 음악은 올림픽이 아니다. 하던 걸 계속 열심히 하겠다가 실제 저희 마음이고 앞으로도 그렇게 될 것 같아요.
There's so many healthy mentalities.
Yeah.
I really feel like Bang PD really like, he seems very cold and austere sometimes, but I think he had so many good principles that he drilled into them, you know.
He seems wise.
Yes.
Like the mentor that lives in the forest that they go talk to.
Yeah, exactly.
아, 오늘도 잘생긴 김석재. 어제 삼겹살 3인분과 치킨 한 마리를 먹었더니 얼굴이 부어서 돌아오질 않네. 셔츠를 입으면 마인드가
I never tell.
나는 부잣집 조금만 살짝 넣어. 그리고 웃음기를 없애. 그리고 살짝 비열하게 비웃는 듯한.
Oh, do you see that? That was too good, Jimin.
That was so
he like
funny.
had like this, just like I can't even do it.
Sorry for cough, guys. I'm sick. I'm trying my best, but she keeps making me laugh, and it just gets me bad.
안녕하세요. 다녀올게요.
수많은 소녀 팬들의 마음을 저격한 방탄소년단. 방탄소년단은 현재 K-팝을 선도하는 가장 핫한 아이돌인데요. 해외에 많은 팬들이 커버 댄스 하는 인기곡으로 방탄소년단의 노래가
It's always cool seeing the choreo.
I love it.
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
무대에 열광한다는 것이 아주 중요한 건데요.
동영상 플랫폼인 유튜브에는 전 세계 팬들이 K-팝 춤을 따라추는
That's so
일명
cool. In
K-팝
Paris by the
커버 댄스
Eiffel
영상이
Tower.
1000만 건 가까이 등록돼 있다.
해외 팬들은 그게 아니에요.
That's
아무리
so
영어가
cool.
많이 섞여 있어도
Dude, that kid was getting it.
What the heck? How are people so talented everywhere?
That kid is just, dude. He's just like in his bedroom killing it. Can you imagine? We just walked in. He's what, like 5 or 6? We just walk in and Rosie's just hitting the choreography perfectly.
That's amazing.
해외 팬들은 그게 아니에요. 아무리 영어가 많이 섞여 있어도 그 어떤 노래의 의미나 이런 것을 다 이해하지 못하고 그들이 K-팝 음악을 이해하는 가장 손쉬운 통로는 춤을 통해서 음악을 듣고 그 음악을 어떻게 춤으로 재현해내느냐 그거거든요.
I feel like that's a
Congratulations, the
That's so
2015
cool.
Mnet
Nice
Asian Music
edit.
Awards. The World Performer winner is BTS.
Yay!
방탄소년단.
방탄소년단입니다.
방탄소년단. 방탄소년단은요.
The uniform era was sick.
I
Oh, we've seen this. This is so funny. It's cool getting where the runs were filmed. Because it's kind of like when we watch the runs, we don't always understand where in the story we're watching.
근데 딱 뛰기 전에 그냥 눈 앞에 이렇게 멤버들 얼굴이 싹 보였어요.
It was so epic when they put the music behind it and all the shots.
And armies all over the world. Thank you very much.
I can never get over the editing. It's so good.
아야 멀리서 인사해라. 점프.
Aww.
귀엽네. 2016년 1월 7일 목요일 지민의 로그.
I've never seen any other family members
부산.
take pictures of
부산에
them.
와 있다. 오랜만에
Aw.
1년 만에 이렇게
Busan boys.
부산 와서 친구도 좀 만나고 엄마 아빠도 좀
That's
보고.
so nice.
아 운전도 배웠다. 아빠한테 운전 배웠어. 2016년 새해가 밝았으니까.
I could just see how that conversation went. You've been doing all this, but you don't know how to drive. You haven't figured out how to drive. Okay, we're gonna go learn. We're gonna learn right now. Right now.
Right now.
소원을 빌어야지.
If it was your dad, he'd be like, "How you can buy so many cars, but you don't know how to drive?" He would be so sincere about it too. He's like, "Okay, we'll go right now."
We have to fix this problem.
우리 멤버들 잘 되고 아프지 말고 하고 싶은 거 다 하고 다 엄청 유명한 사람이 되고 항상 웃는 일만 가득했으면 좋겠고 행복했으면 좋겠고 되게 슬프게 안 했었으면 좋겠어. 2016년 1월 7일 목요일 지민의 로그 끝.
너무 늦었어. 빨리 오세요, 빨리 오세요. 형 스케줄
He
하고
has so
왔어요?
many friends.
형 근데 이렇게 나와본 적 없지 않아요?
나 없어. 나 2년 반 만에 처음이야.
2년 반이요?
나 2년 반 만에 이렇게 그냥 친구들이랑 마음 놓고 노는 게.
Sometimes they say things like that, and then it just hits me like a, I don't know. It's
I
always
thought he
just
was like, yeah,
what?
I don't go out. I haven't been out
Like
in 2.5
party.
years. Like partying.
Yeah.
This is my first time hanging out with a friend.
In 2.5 years. That's wild.
이게 처음이야.
That's so heartbreaking.
거의 이제 작업실 아니면 연습실 아니면 숙소 아니면 이제 진짜 너무나 피곤할 때 새벽에 몰래 탈출해가지고 밥 먹으러 나가고 끝.
도착했어요.
It's heartbreaking. I didn't realize they never hung out with a friend.
Oh, Han River. They talk about Han River a lot.
평범하지만 가장 좋은 데이트. 그러면은 또 한강에
And even this
왔으니까.
is recorded.
Whoa, that looks delicious. You see the egg?
Gotta get ramen when you're with me.
Ramyeon, ramyeon.
야 햇반 하나 사갖고 올 거야.
하나 사올까?
괜찮아.
Oh, it's cold as heck wherever they are. Or whatever it is.
생일 축하합니다.
It was his birthday?
생일 축하합니다. 사랑하는 태영이 형.
그래.
생일 축하합니다.
괜히 그거 한
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, that's a big bite.
That's how you eat a
with
cake.
chopsticks. That was
That's
great.
how you eat a cake.
케이크 주는 거는 따로 이제 케이크 만나서 케이크 주는 건 너가 처음이다.
아 진짜? 이번
There's something super special about a cake.
이제까지
Ever in his life?
아니 이때까지 뭐 파티 같은 거 한 번도 안 해봤거든.
What?
진짜. 나는
It's weird because like I feel like I've seen the boys do birthday cakes so in so many of like the shots.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that he doesn't count that or if that hadn't happened or started happening yet.
Maybe that was later, but I feel like we've seen some in the early. But maybe it's like it's very different. Family versus friends.
Like corporate, you know.
Yeah.
Like when it's your
Well,
work.
no, it's not corporate.
It's like your work though.
But I think
right?
it's because I think that it's more like members are family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's just different.
Yeah.
아니다 안 그래. 난 고일 때 와가지고 연습실에서 이제 멤버 형들이 이제 선생들이 이제 축하해 준 거 빼고는 따로 이제 나와서 난 친구들한테 선물 받아 축하만 처음.
형 아직 생일빵 많이 남았어요.
그래 지금
That
24시간
cake
남았다는
looks
거.
great.
야야야.
That looks fabulous.
这是友情，你们建造出来的友情，很真实。
It was pretty good.
结果今天有人摔倒了，我看着某一个人看见他摔倒了，继续往前跑。你们是一个团体。
Whoa.
That's so cool.
一个人做错事情，所有人都要跟着受罚。团体精神是什么？不能有一个人犯错，有一个人犯错，整个队就完蛋。记住这句话。来了，就是来吃苦的。
Whenever we talk about like what it takes to be a team, I always think, wow, I would be toxic.
I would not be able to survive.
Because I played team sports growing up, and I was like, oh wow.
Teenage you is different than adult you, but I mean they were teenagers though.
I'm 31.
Yeah,
I'm almost 32.
It.
It's very different. These are teenagers.
These are teenagers.
Yeah, these are teenagers. Oh. Well, I'm saying like when they talk about this, like, oh yeah, you have to support your teammates when they fall.
Yeah.
Like one person makes a mistake, you all pay for it. That's what's being a team. I got so mad.
Yeah.
Like I'd be like, why am I getting punished? He messed up. He sucks. I'm good.
I remember
I was so toxic.
In elementary
such a bad
school,
attitude.
one kid would talk, and then the whole we had a really mean computer teacher, and when one kid would talk, the entire team or the entire class missed out on recess.
Yeah, I hated that stuff.
It's like,
yeah,
I didn't talk. This jerk over here thought it was funny.
And I'm like, what are you? Do you want us to like beat people up when they talk?
Like, what do you want me
to do? What do you want us to do?
This?
Yeah, we can't. We have no enforcement mechanism.
No.
So, but that's as we're getting into it, we're like exhibiting those same. But if you want to be a successful team.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't think you need to be a successful team in a computer class in 4th grade.
No.
But like, if you want to be a successful team, you do really need to be like, hey, you're the one who happened to have made the mistake, but it's on all of us, and be so good about that.
I would not be.
I know, but that's
there are a million reasons.
That's why it's so
be
admirable.
This is number one.
뭔가 제 입으로 이렇게 말하기 민망하지만 그래도 저는 저희 팀에 자부심이 있기 때문에.
Oh, dude, when did they play all these sports? Shooting guard.
我出了道，我从来没有因为一个镜头跟我的队员吵过一次架。我从来不去羡慕嫉妒每一个比我有人气的人，因为在队里有他们，每一个组合的队员才会被知道。这是感恩。
정국. 기술실이.
Oh, wrestling.
And they won the wrestling.
这才叫团队。
태영이야,
비영, 화이팅! 떨지 마.
우린 팀이에요. 쉽게 해줄게요.
화이팅!
不是当着机器的面，这个人摔倒过去扶一下，这个人选完了去抱一下、哭一下，这就叫友情，这就是团体，这不是。
He articulated those things really
Yeah, that's why she probably took it in, because she used that as the kind of the backdrop, showing
it's
this
so
is
articulate.
Why BTS succeeded.
Yeah,
look at all these things he's talking about.
That's something we've always said. It's crazy how they were so not selfish.
Yeah,
because I feel like it's so easy. And I say this about myself very much, like to take the good things about team and to really appreciate like the support you get.
Yeah,
and then also be very jealous.
Yeah.
And like resentful.
Oh, Jin is the handsome one.
Or like,
J-Hope's the best dancer.
Or I don't know, whoever is the most popular in that specific time.
Yeah.
Or, especially because with what they're doing, it's so personal.
Yeah.
Or at least it's perceived to be, right? So it's like, oh, people like them more than me, or just whatever that would be.
Where
right?
they're coming off better on camera.
Or like if I just had some more screen time, maybe I'd be as more popular. Or just like a million little things, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't. I feel it's crazy to me that they found 7 dudes who didn't have that, who were also so competitive as a team and so hardworking and so humble.
Yeah.
Like getting those same.
I don't know how they do it.
It's crazy.
They are different.
Well, they pared down a bunch, remember?
Yeah, they're built different though.
唱歌跳舞就这2样，做人。以做人为前提去学唱歌跟跳舞，去享受你们的生活，去感谢。如果你们连这个都做不到，你们进了这圈子也白瞎拉倒。
It's like your group won't succeed unless you have these
好好珍惜，知道吗？我希望我下次过来能看见不一样的你。辛苦了。
I don't even know if you can, you know? Because I don't even think it's necessarily wrong to be wired to be more like disagreeable and competitive.
Yeah.
And like more of an individual team player.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's wrong. It just means you're not in the wrong. Maybe you should be a solo artist.
Yeah, you
know
can't
what
be
I mean?
a team player.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder. I bet you can improve on it, but I think it's really hard to make that change because I think that's very dispositional and at a deep personality level.
But caring for somebody when they fall and get hurt is different than like just only being jealous all the time, wanting somebody else to fail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I feel like it's also trying to categorize and be like, they're not your enemies.
Yeah.
They're extensions of you.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
But they're in this competitive environment. Like, here they're literally competing.
That's what I'm saying.
It's very
and that's
weird.
why I'm like, okay, I feel like, at least for me, I think it'd be so hard to flip that switch until I was really invested and loyal
to the group,
to the specific people. But then if I was on, like, if it's me and 100 other dudes, right, and we're competing like this, I would feel extreme loyalty to the people on my team or my sub-team, and I would feel extreme, like,
antagonism
towards everybody else.
Because it's either you or them.
Yeah, I'm like, my team wins, oh, they go down, I don't want to see them get hurt, but I'm like, my team, we want to win, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
no,
so
I
don't know how you turn that off, because like I'm super disagreeable and competitive.
Yeah, we would never make it.
You never make
Just
it.
on that
that's
one
what I'm
tiny
saying.
detail.
I mean, like, obviously my singing is immaculate. No.
잘 안 돼.
You know what? It's like loyalty too.
Yeah. This is
so trippy.
이제 감동을 받을 수 있는 그런 노래, 마음을 움직이는 노래 같은 걸 나도 하고 싶어서.
I love this music video so much.
I think his voice does. Jimin to me is one of the most
마지막으로
unique
이제
voices.
저희 방탄소년단과 아이돌이지만 한 단계 위로.
I was waiting for it to start.
넥스트 레벨로 이사가고 싶어.
It's so terrifying the first time you watch it. You're like, why is he setting him on fire?
I wanted.
You got blue balled.
밤새 일했지 everyday. 네가 클럽에서 놀 때, yeah. 방송 상태가 원활하지 않대요.
뽀뽀와 키스의 차이점이 뭐라고 생각해요?
뽀뽀는 살며시 하는 거고 키스는 약간
혀의 유무죠?
혀의 유무래요.
진짜 저는 모습 못 봤을 거예요. 묻지 마요.
뜨거! 아 뜨거! 타이틀곡 런을 5글자로 홍보한 다리 알배기.
와 바다다. 와 바다다.
Made me so happy.
That was sweet.
It's such a great docuseries.
It really is.
It's so good.
She adds like little details. Like here, she's like, look, she didn't say explicitly like, here's why they're a good team and have like a voiceover. She just lets the guy talk through it and be like, here's examples of BTS.
Contrast.
Yeah.
Contrast.
Yeah.
These teams didn't work. This team did work.
Why?
Do you see the difference?
Yeah. She let you just see it.
Yeah, it feels like school. Did you guys, I don't know, if you've ever had business class, they sometimes give you case studies. And you read the story and they're like, tell us why this didn't work or why this did work. It felt kind of like that, right? A case study on it's BTS. Like, now give us 3 points on why BTS is a very successful team.
Honestly, if you're ever going to put together a BTS or a K-pop group, you should watch this docuseries.
I feel like a small team that's doing something difficult and competitive.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's more broad.
It can be applied to a lot of different areas.
And I feel like it's also, because this is, again, I don't know. It depends on, one, how much you believe disposition is plastic and or how much you believe it's innate, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, dude, picking the right members
is huge.
Is huge. Because I really, man, because when we were with those 30, right? Because I'm trying to imagine if you're in a trainee situation, I feel like I could be loyal to 6 other guys.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could be loyal to 30.
Especially when
I know that
are going to get cut.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or
I don't know. It's just, I feel like, dude, you have to, and then finding people who are competitive but also so team spirited and minded.
So hard. Yeah.
And by the way, talented.
Yeah.
At a world level.
Well, all these people I feel like have a base level of talent.
Because they're there.
Yeah. It's not the talent. It's like, okay, are you a good fit?
Yeah. So you're like when they're picking people to become trainees, that's the talent.
Yeah.
And then when they're whittling people down, that's like a mix of talent, but a lot of personality.
Yeah. How well do you get along with people?
If you just have the wrong disposition.
How hard do you work?
In my opinion, it doesn't really matter. It's like, oh, this isn't for you. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things that could be pathological, but like, I'm not like, oh, I'm lacking because I'm super competitive. It just means I should focus on things where that is a strength, not a weakness.
Yeah.
And when you're working with small teams, that can be a weakness.
Yeah.
If you don't also have really tight bonds and loyalty to those people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that'd be so hard.
Yeah.
Because it's like, work on this. Man, it would be hard to...
It'd be hard
to work on it.
Disposition. Or like, I don't take criticism well. So like, getting yelled at in front of a whole group of people, like I'd probably break down crying. Like I would. And it's like, oh,
You'd get mad.
I'd get pissed. I would break down crying, one of the two, depending if I thought it was justified or not. And it would be like, you need to control your emotions better. I'd be like, I can't. Sorry, that's just not who I am.
And I don't like I like having a growth mentality, but I also don't like swimming against the current, right?
Yeah.
Like I do think if you're sufficiently motivated, you can change things that are really entrenched dispositionally, or figure out like ways to harness that, right? But it's just so difficult.
Part of me wants to see a docuseries on like the trainee program to understand what they went through a little better, but the other part of me thinks it would be so painful to watch that I don't think I could make it through.
I think we would get invested in the members who didn't make the group.
Yeah.
And even if they have wonderful lives now, I don't think that they would show us that.
No.
We would only.
And you would just be like, wow, their life is over.
Yeah, it would feel that way, even though that's not the case, right? Like they could go on to have beautiful lives, beautiful careers, eclectic fields. Like even they could be a songwriter, or they could be working in production, or whatever. They could become a successful indie artist, or whatever it is. But it would just break our heart, especially when you know who's gonna make it.
You know the other crazy part is, think about this. They were with not one of the top 3 groups, right? And think of how many people they were still competing against.
Yeah,
imagine being one of the top 3 groups. And then the hardest part is like, oh, you debuted, it was all for nothing. You went through hell and it was all for nothing.
If you don't make it, right? Because most of the debuting groups don't even make it.
It's like, I finally made it into a group and then nothing.
I finally made it into a group that made it to debut.
And then
but that being said, thank you guys. I really enjoy this series. I really love learning more about the K-pop industry in general. And so thank you so much for the suggestion. We're really enjoying working through this. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to see some more of our BTS reactions, we can't post here on YouTube. Check them out over on Patreon, patreon.com, just Wes and Steph. We have Hope on the Street. We reacted to all of that, which was so good.
Yeah.
We're currently reacting to the summer packages, and we should have posted a reaction to Happy by Jin, the whole album, by the time this goes up. So that will be really great. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
We already filmed it, and we really enjoyed the whole album. It was very fun.
It was one of my favorite albums. I did. Okay, I have one last thought, and they could probably see it on my face. I feel like the equivalent of the trainee program would be like going to college for 4 years and then not getting a job when you graduate. Like, and that's not even a good comparison. That's like the closest I can understand.
I feel like that doesn't encapsulate.
It doesn't encapsulate.
It's like if you went to college, but people were getting voted off survival style every week.
Yeah.
Or not survival style, but there was some mechanism for elimination, and like only. Like there's 1,000 kids that go to college, and only 100 get to even graduate, and then of those 100,
you don't even get a job.
Only 10 get a job,
or they may not. None might.
Yeah,
you know, there's no guarantee.
That's true.
Is that crazy?
That's so stressful to think about.
Is that so
stressful?
So stressful to think about. All right. Anyway,
we love you guys.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.